Heartbreak, breaking up with someone that we love, can be one of the most painful things that we ever go through. If you've been through something like this or you're currently going through it, this video was meant for you. I'm Kamil Ravin, and about a year ago, I went through my own heartbreak. I broke up with someone that I loved after 3 years of being together. And at one point in time, I thought that I would end up marrying this person. Right? I thought that she would be the woman that I'd end up marrying and raising a family with. So it was a really difficult thing to go through. One of the most painful things ever. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing a bit about what I went through in that process of breaking up, in that process of heartbreak, and a few things that have really helped me to move on, to transcend the pain, to stop suffering. I've noticed that in the shorter period of time after the breakup, women and men generally tend to handle those periods a bit differently. Men have been conditioned to run or hide from their feelings, so they don't process things as easily straight away. Whereas women are able to hold those feelings quite easily in the beginning. So this is really something to think about. When you're going through a heartbreak, how much space are you giving yourself to feel, to really feel? Whatever emotions that might be, without making them wrong, without thinking you shouldn't feel this way, no matter what reasons you have for it. Whether it's anger or sorrow, or just deep pain, to hold those feelings with grace, without judgment. This is really key. In any process of going through a breakup, of going through a heartbreak, so many feelings may arise, so many thoughts may arise. And the less we resist them, the less we judge them, the less we try to push them away or try to change them, the more they'll begin to gradually fade on their own. Feelings are a movement of energy, right? And if we can hold those feelings without resisting them, without fighting them or being in conflicts with them, they're a lot easier to process. There were moments when I was in such deep pain, really suffering, really in a dark place. But I knew the importance of allowing myself to feel it, allowing myself to hold space for all those feelings to just flow through me. And it was actually quite a cathartic and beautiful thing, because you begin to feel but not suffer. Do you know what the difference is? To feel doesn't mean that you don't feel sad. It just means when you're not fighting or wanting those feelings to go away, the suffering subsides. It just becomes an experience that you're having, and you can almost appreciate it. It can almost be quite graceful. So if you're going through whatever feelings you're going through right now, hold space for them, be with them, surrender to them. I can't emphasize the importance of this. Another thing to remember is that healing is not linear, which means just because one day you feel like, oh, everything's okay, and then the next day or a week after you suddenly feel like you've gone down again, that's okay, right? It's not meant to be a straightforward process. So give yourself that grace to allow yourself to feel everything you need to as you're going through this process. Judging ourselves because we thought we're over this by now, or we thought, oh, I feel like I'm going backwards because I'm feeling this again. That doesn't have to be true. It's just about seeing that healing is not linear, and you are well within your rights to feel that way. Heartbreak, similar to the death of a loved one, I can say that there can sometimes be similarities between the two. It's one of the few human experiences we go through where we sometimes don't see a way out. We sometimes think, how am I ever going to get over this? When are things ever going to get better? I don't see a way out, right? It's almost like you're just completely surrounded in darkness, in clouds, and the light is nowhere to be seen. I know that feeling, but this is a complete misunderstanding. Just because you feel that everything is now dark, everything is lost, everything is beyond hope, that does not make it true. Because beyond those clouds, beyond that darkness, there is light. There is a way forward. There is another side. There is another future where you won't be in this darkness anymore. But it's about deeply trusting in yourself and trusting in life that there is a way out. To realize those feelings, that pain is not permanent. Pain never has to be permanent. Darkness never has to be permanent. But because we're feeling it in that moment, it just seems like it is. But it's completely untrue. Whatever the circumstances of your breakup may have been, Whether it was just a mutual separation, whether someone cheated, whether there was some other circumstance that happened. Sometimes we can hold something against this person. It could be anger, resentment, hatred, jealousy, anything. Like all of these feelings can come up. And suddenly, because we are feeling this negativity towards the person that we broke up with, it keeps us stuck, it keeps us trapped, it keeps us suffering. And this is where forgiveness is so important. Now you might think, oh, they don't deserve my forgiveness. You know, who are they to give them this? But it's not about them. It's not about doing it for the other person. To forgive is a gift to yourself. To forgive is the biggest gift you can give yourself, because you then free yourself from the resentment. You then free yourself from the suffering. So coming from that place of love, of forgiveness, of understanding, and seeing that your previous partner is on their own journey, is going through their own things, is operating with whatever level of understanding they have, can help to start giving them grace. It doesn't mean that you have to invite them back into your life, or you have to not create boundaries, but it's about giving that forgiveness for yourself, your own peace, your own moving on. So forgive. Something that I really struggled with in moving on from my previous relationship and going through that period of heartbreak was feeling like my previous partner was mine. It was like I owned them in some way. It's like there's this feeling that they're yours, right? And now that you've broken up and maybe they've started to date someone else, or maybe something's happened, it creates this internal conflict and this resistance, because you're almost at war with what's happening. It's like you don't want this reality to be happening because you feel like that person is yours. And this is why it's so important to see that no one is ever ours, right? No one is ever ours to own, even if they're with us. It doesn't mean that they're ours. All of us are on our own journey, and sometimes we share that journey, and sometimes we don't. And that's okay. But surrendering to that, detaching, seeing that no one is ever ours, can help us to stop feeling like we own them, to stop feeling like this process of separation needs to be this conflicting thing. No one is ever ours, and that's perfectly okay. There's this saying that relationships aren't about longevity, not all the time. Sometimes relationships are about elevation. Relationships aren't always about longevity. They're not always about lasting till the end of our lives. Sometimes they're about elevation. Two people coming together, evolving together, and continuing to evolving after that separation. It's not about, one person doing better than the other, or being in this competition about who lost out or who's better off. None of this ego stuff. It's just about seeing that sometimes people come together to elevate together, and then their time has come to part. Now, elevation is a lot more likely if you see this entire journey, you see this entire process, you see all of this pain as a way for you to evolve, to grow, to learn, right? Heartbreaks, relationships ending can be one of the biggest catalysts for our own transformation. Imagine what happens if you use this experience to become a completely different version of yourself, one that outgrows the person who was heartbroken. So you can look back and begin to not even recognize the person that you were. That's one of the biggest ways to move on, because you've become a whole new person, taking the lessons, taking the wisdom that you can take moving forward into your next relationships. Do you see how beautiful that is? To see that all of your future partners, all of your future relationships are going to be blessed by the heartbreak that you're going through, because you're going to be able to create something so much better, so much more aligned. And this is where this story, this thought that, oh, what if I don't find someone better? Who am I going to find? What if I don't find someone like this again? What if I'm going to be alone forever? It doesn't make any sense. Because if you are becoming someone completely new and evolving and learning, then the next person you invite into your life is going to be way more aligned for you. And you're going to show up differently in that relationship too. And that's where all of this becomes the deepest blessing, something to be grateful for, rather than something to be fearful of, and something to think like it's the end of the world. Something I did after my own breakup was putting myself into limbo. By limbo, I mean I wasn't moving on and I wasn't in the relationship. I was just in this place of thinking that, oh, maybe one day things will work out. Maybe one day we'll get back together. Maybe we were meant to break up to then realign as whole new people. And look, sometimes that happens for people. I'm not taking anything away from that. However, because I was in this confused place of being unsure, like whether we're gonna get back together or whether I'm gonna move on, it kept me stagnant. It kept me stuck because I was essentially holding back and holding out rather than allowing myself to fully move on. So the reason I'm sharing this is we can create these stories. We can romanticize and fantasize and spin up so many things about how you're meant to be with this person, or they're the one that you're meant for, or you're meant to then get back together one day. And there's all of these twin flame theories that are out there too. Again, I'm not taking anything away from it. I'm just saying be mindful, be careful, because our mind can spin so much romanticization, so many fantasies that aren't true. You ever heard that saying, believe people, believe what they show you, rather than what you're projecting? There's something to that. So what I'm trying to point to is coming back to an objective reality, rather than getting caught up in the fantasy of who you think someone is compared to who they really are, who you want them to be compared to who they really are, who you think they could become compared to who they really are. It's really important to see this. It's so easy after breaking up with someone to only remember everything that was great, everything that was good, and forgetting why you broke up in the first place, what the relationship really was like, and grounding yourself in that reality, realizing that perhaps they're not the best person for you. The more you can check yourself and notice when you start to romanticize and fantasize, the easier it's going to be to come back and ground yourself. And coming back to what I said about being in limbo, the moment I made the choice to actually leave it behind and move on, the rate in which I began to let go of the heartbreak changed exponentially, because I wasn't now staying stagnant and stuck in this place where I didn't know what was going to happen. This is why the choice to decide you are now moving on, you're creating a different future, you're leaving behind the past, and you're learning your lessons in the process is fundamental. I love the saying, what's meant for you will never miss you. We can fight, we can struggle, we can feel like we need to do something to make something work after a breakup. But if I'm coming from a place of what's meant for you will never miss you, there's a lot more ease, there's a lot more peace. Because if I'm fighting and something isn't working, then I can see perhaps this thing is not meant for me, or it's maybe not even meant for me right now. And that's okay. But I can come from a place of realizing that there are so many more possibilities ahead. And this is something really important. One of the reasons breakups and relationships ending is so painful, it's not because of the breakup, it's not because of the other person, it's not because of how much we love them, it's not because of the relationship ending. It's because deep down, behind everything, behind all of the deepest thoughts that are happening, there's sometimes a fear that we're going to be alone, we're not going to be loved, we're not going to be enough, we're not going to find someone. But that's coming from a very scarce place. It's coming from a very insecure place. If I can see and trust that no matter what happens, you will meet someone different, you will meet someone new, you will be a whole new version of yourself to attract something better into your life, then it doesn't become as much of a doom, that darkness that we're talking about. So dropping all of that resentment, all of the negativity towards the person that you broke up with, and genuinely wishing them the best, genuinely wanting them to flourish in their life, no matter what they did to you. You win from that, because you're no longer holding anything in yourself. Sometimes we can delay the process even further by continuing to feed and engage the person we broke up with. It doesn't have to be through contact. Sometimes it is through contact, but sometimes it's simply by constantly, checking their social media, trying to check up on them, find out about them. It delays the process. We essentially block ourselves from healing because we continue to feed the past rather than creating something new moving forward. It's so easy to underestimate our own healing, to feel like just because something feels so heavy and so buried within us right now, that it's never going to go away. But we are so resilient. We are so powerful. Our mind and our body is innately healing. Healing is a part of us, it's our nature. When we get out of our own way, when we stop trying to interfere, when we stop trying to pick at the wound, healing is always there. And that's why no matter how painful it is right now, there will be a day when you look back and it's just a distant thing. Something you can appreciate, be grateful for, but it's no longer this weight that it used to be. The cracking open of our hearts, someone breaking up with us, or even if you broke up with someone, it doesn't have to be one way or the other. It's a way for us to get back in touch with ourselves, to get back in touch with our own love that's always been there. People, you hear it all the time, right? People talk about self-love, love yourself after the breakup, and sometimes it might even be irritating to hear. You might think, oh, forget about that. I don't want to hear this right now. I just want to feel what I'm feeling. That's why I said, feel what you want to feel. But in those moments, come from the place of really holding yourself, being there for yourself, just imagining yourself, embracing yourself, and realizing you've got you. You're here for you. You love you. And you're always going to be with yourself. We only ever have ourselves. When it comes down to it, we are the only one that we have. You take yourself wherever you go. So let it be an opportunity to nurture that relationship, to start giving yourself the compassion and the love that you may not be feeling right now. All we are is love. Beneath everything, all we are is love. And this is why a relationship ending can be one of the most beautiful ways to wake up to this deeper truth. And that's where you can start to move forward from a much more open-hearted place. One of the saddest things that we could ever do after a breakup is to close ourselves off, to become guarded, to become jaded, to become hateful, to become warped in our minds about men or women. Don't do that to yourself. Use it as a way to evolve, to open yourself even more, and to wake up to the truth of who you are. I appreciate you for walking alongside me in this unscripted flow of just talking about heartbreak. I hope you found value, and tell me what you're going through. Share in the comments, tell me about your journey, what's helped you with heartbreak, what you're going through right now, and I'll be there to listen. If you got value from this, please give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Love you all.